recording. Great. All right, so I'll start with introductions and then you'll get to meet everybody. My name is Jamie Lusader and I am the Chief Technology Officer for the schools. And just quick background, I went to school in La Cañada starting in 8th grade and I taught English at the high school for a little while. And I also have my credential for elementary. I student taught 4th grade, so I love 4th grade before I moved to high school. And I'm here today because I really want to make sure all of our students have the best possible experience before school starts. So we'll go around the kind of squares and everybody can introduce themselves. So say who you are and why you're here today.
I'll start, I guess. That's okay. Okay, I'm Alana. I just graduated at LCHS and I'm an incoming freshman at Princeton. I have 2 sisters who went to PCY, so go Cougars. And I'm here to make sure that everyone has a smooth transition to this whole online learning format. Also, some people may know me from the Girls Who Code camp that we hosted. So, yeah.
Thanks, Alana.
Hello, everyone. My name is Enzo. I'm going into 11th grade. I've been in the district since kindergarten at PCY, and I hope we can teach everyone here something new when it comes to technology.
Thanks, Enzo.
I'm Devin. I'm an incoming junior going into 11th grade. I'm just here to try to make life as easy and as good as possible going into the school year.
Hey, Devin, I forgot to tell you something yesterday.
Yeah.
I lost the game.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sonia. I also just graduated from LCHS and I'm an incoming freshman at UC Davis. And I'm here in hopes of making this whole transition to online easier.
Thank you.
My name is David Paskowitz. I am the instructional technology specialist here, and I'm your friendly neighborhood Chromebook guy. You probably get a lot of emails from both Jamie and me about Chromebook buying guides and tips and tricks as we go through the school year. But I am one person who works with the students kind of TK through 8th grade, and I kind of follow the students up for a while. So I'm excited to be working with you today. While my mic is live, my son is also in his online piano lesson, so you might hear a little ode to joy happening in the background too, so I apologize for that.
That's on our Zoom bingo, actually, right? Like, one more thing happening in the background. That's the first time I've heard piano. That's excellent. Thank you. One other question I had in the chat, and thank you to Fiona and Max for letting us know that they're new students to LCUSD. So welcome, we're excited to have you here. So thanks to the newbies that are joining us today. All right, so format for today, we have about 8 different topics or so that we want to just give you an overview of things that are important for you to know. There will be a lot of things that we're covering, but we'll try to keep them at a pretty good level. So not going into too much detail so you don't have to worry, but just giving you an overview of what to expect. And if you have some experience with Google tools, you'll see some things familiar. If not, we'll make sure you have resources to get stronger. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Paz, and he's going to kick us off today. And then just some protocols for how the session is going to work. If you could find the Q&A button on your screen, that's where you can actually ask us questions. So find that Q&A button and you can post a question there, and then we'll either answer live or we'll answer in the Q&A box for you. So know that that's your option. And you can also, if you have questions, you can use the chat as well, but it's a little bit easier if you post them in the Q&A so that we can track them and answer them for you. All right, I'll turn it over to Mr. Paz. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mrs. Lusader. I just want to get started letting everyone know, especially if you're new to LCUSD, is the websites. LCUSD.net is our main website. From there, you can link to any of our schools. But each of our schools has its own website, LCHSSpartans.net, LCHS78.net, PCRPanthers.net, LCELions.net, and PCYCougars.net. These are kind of the hubs of everything you need to know or get started. Um, we will be showing you some ways to use this website kind of as your home base, but we just want to make sure if you're new to our district that you see that we have these sites available for you. So write them down if you don't already know those. All right. So also, bear with me for 1 second. Everything runs nice and slow over Zoom. I just want to talk quickly about Chromebooks. This year, normally our Bring Your Own Chromebook program starts in 5th grade. So 5th graders buy their own Chromebook, they bring it to school and use it as long as possible, up through 8th grade, ideally. So all of our students between 5th grade and 12th grade have a Chromebook. If you don't have a Chromebook, can't find one on the store shelves, or aren't able to purchase one for this school year, we do have loaner Chromebooks available to you. So Mrs. Lusader sent out a link in the last few days about that, about how to sign up for a loaner, so you can pick those up in the coming weeks from the school. We've got some pickup dates. But a lot of questions that we get are, why a Chromebook? Why can't I use a PC that I already have? Or I really like Apple products. Can I use an Apple product? Or what about iPads and Androids? We don't allow or support anything else other than Chromebooks in classrooms. Now, Chromebooks are made by a lot of different manufacturers. Some are really high quality and have a lot of features, and some are really basic. Some are really sturdy. Some are cheap. Really, any Chromebook that you choose works, but because we have a Chromebook management system, this is kind of how we manage all of our student technology. We push out new apps to students. If there are patches that we need, all of the students can get it at once. We have filtering, so we keep all of our, keep the bad stuff out, keep the good stuff in, that we can do with all of our Chromebooks. So if you have any questions about this, I'm happy to answer more, but we will need a Chromebook for school in 5th through 12th grade. And for this year, because of distance learning, our 4th graders are also going to need a Chromebook as well. So again, we'll give more information about getting them. If you have any questions, we'll answer that in the chat. But why a Chromebook? Because this is how we keep our whole ecosystem working. And especially this year, it's extra important.
Awesome, thank you. And I'll post the guide that David wrote up for that right now in the chat, so you have a copy of it. And then I think you want to tell us, like, okay, so once you have your Chromebook and it's very exciting and it's a shiny new thing, where do we see our 4th, 5th, and 6th graders getting into the most trouble?
All right. So the reason why we love Chromebooks, among many reasons, low cost, ease of operation. But the best part about these is they don't get viruses, which is great. And for troubleshooting for all of us, kids, parents, and us here at school, this is good for us. But sometimes your Chromebook might not work very well, and it's the issue with an extension. I'm sure our student panelists can talk more about extensions. So think about one great extension that you might want to suggest. But let me give you a little spill the tea on some extensions here for a second. Extensions are kind of like aftermarket features that you can add to your Google Chrome browser. So it's kind of adding it to your internet tool. Some of them are really cool, and I'm sure our students are going to share a couple with us. However, some of them, they're made by like some random dude in his basement, and you don't know what they're doing. So they could be tracking you online. They could be running operations in the background. They could be installing malware on your device. So extensions, awesome. But always before you install an extension, you always look, is it from a reputable source? Read some of the other people's comments before you install it. Are people complaining that it's making their Chromebook act weird? We have a lot of tools like our assessment tools, some of our textbooks, that certain extensions that you install that are a really neat tool maybe, they interact with our Chromebooks and our tech doesn't work. So there are extensions like that one that every time you open a new tab, it takes like a professional wrestler and he's kind of making a big animation, elbow to somebody else's face. Every time you open a new tab, really funny, but also not great on your Chromebook. There's one that turns every photo on every website into Nicolas Cage or whoever. And, you know, it's funny for a minute, but these things do affect our Chromebook. What I would suggest, if your Chromebook ever doesn't work, the tech department's here to help, but the first thing that you can do is, if something's acting weird, start deleting all those extensions that you've installed, and in your Chromebook will come back to life. I'll also put in our chat room here our help guide about how to install and how to delete extensions. But right now I'm going to turn it over to our school panel here. What are some good extensions that you know?
One that I like is save to Google Drive. So whatever, like if you're on a website or you have a photo, I think it makes it so you can automatically save it to your Google Drive, and it uploads it there. And then if you need to turn it in or access it from your drive, it makes it really easy to use. So I really like that one.
I use Grammarly, which, I mean, we've all seen the commercials, but I use it in addition to the spelling check on Google, and it's kind of like a second way to make sure your spelling and grammar is on point. So that's one I use.
One that I use, which can be kind of annoying sometimes, but ad blocker can be pretty useful. Some sites don't let you, or you have to disable it in order to get on, but for other sites, it can just block the ad so it doesn't take as long to load sites and things like that.
Yeah, that's a really good tip. And again, back to the troubleshooting, if you do download ad blocker, which is great, and you see something not working, just go turn it off and then do whatever you needed to do and then turn it back on.
I guess the biggest one that I use is probably, well, I use all of those as well as one called LCHS Go, which is just for the district. I think we might be talking about that later, but has the bell schedule. I think that's going to be especially important as we go keep things online.
You know, Dev, something to think about is we have that set up for 712, but we are going to have an elementary bell schedule potentially. So we may have to add other grade levels to your project. So something for the development team.
I'll go pass that on.
And for those of you who don't know, Devin, which I don't know if he's below you on your screen, but Devin is a member, as some of our other members here, of it's the I-Team, right? And there's this an I-Team project that makes that made this awesome app, and they do some really awesome coding and things like that. So if you're in elementary school and you're like, I love technology, as you move through the school year and you make it over to LCHS, there are a lot of great opportunities for things like this, where our students are our colleagues and our experts, and you really have a chance to be a part of technology at school. So, Enzo, I'm going to turn this over to you right now. Can you give us just a quick overview of Google Classroom? I'm going to stall for a little bit if you need to get some slides opened up for us. But Google Classroom is, this is kind of the tool that we use in basically grades 3 through 12. All the teachers pass out work this way, and students turn their work back into the teacher. It's kind of like the hub of an online classroom. And most of our teachers were using this all the time when we were live together. But because we're online and not going to be together, we're really going to be using a lot more of Google Classroom. So Enzo, if you can just show us an overview of kind of what it looks like, a quick little tour. And we also have other instructional materials once we dive in a little bit more deeply. But Enzo is going to give us a good overview here at the beginning.
Okay.
All right. Got it?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Enzo again. So this is Google Classroom. Google Classroom is probably our most used app in the district. And it's basically a place where all your assignments and announcements your teachers have are all in one place. So to start off, this is the class selection view, which allows you to choose your classes, like choose which class you want to turn in an assignment on or check announcements for. So if we go to the next slide. Okay, so for this demo, we created a demo classroom, demo land, and if I click on that class, it takes us to the stream page. And what the stream page is it's a great way to get like a general view of all your assignments and announcements your teachers posted throughout the week and throughout the year. And then I also want to bring to your attention, I think it might be on the next slide. Sorry.
All good. And then in the chat, if you could just tell us if you've used Google Classroom before or not.
Yeah, that'd be
put a yes or a no really quickly. That'll help us. Thank you.
Okay, so just kind of what I was saying is there's 3 different menu pages: Stream, Classwork, and People, but you'll mainly be using Stream and Classwork, which are the ones we'll go over quickly today. And then also, I just wanted to kind of show you that in the Stream page, there's a box that says Upcoming, and that's like a very easy way. And in that box, it'll show up all your assignments that are probably due for that week and that are close to being due.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Like when we think about kind of managing your work for this opening of school being remote, we're going to have to come up with some really interesting strategies so you kind of keep track of when things are due. So we'll be chatting with our teachers about how to organize things in Google Drive and passing that on to you too, to make sure that everybody kind of knows what's going on and it doesn't feel too spread out.
Yeah. And then one thing I would also mention is you should constantly be checking Google Classroom, as it's like where your teachers are constantly posting assignments. So checking Google Classroom every day is a must, along like with your email. Okay, so the second page along with the stream page is called Classwork. And essentially what Classwork is, it's a page where all your assignments are categorized, and below each category, if we go to the next slide. So as I said, each assignments are categorized, and under each category, you'll find all the corresponding assignments. And so since this was a demo classroom, the categories aren't really realistic, but in the real classroom, they'll often be called like homework, schoolwork, categories that you often find, tests, quizzes, etc. So that's the category, and then under each category, you'll find the assignments listed for each one. And then also something I wanted to point out is you can easily see if you've turned something in because it'll be displayed as a gray icon opposed to something that's not turned in, which will appear colored, or green in this case, or turquoise.
Yeah, I think this is such a good tip to quickly scan this page and just really know what you have left to do or not. So super, super good tip. Thank you.
Okay, so moving on is like the turn in page. This is essentially where you turn in each assignment. It's a very important page. So if we go to the next slide. Okay, awesome. So in the turn-in page, there's a few components. The first thing you'll see is the assignment name, how many points it's worth, and the date, which are all very important. Additionally, you're able to communicate with your teacher through Classroom, through the comment section, and you can both leave a class comment and a private comment. And I often utilize this as a student for any questions that come up during the assignment or any instructional issues I have with any of the instructions I've been given.
And one of the things that I learned at a Google Classroom training that I saw parts of this summer was, it was a super cool idea that we want to share with our teachers, is that they could record a little voice comment with each assignment, so you could actually listen to your teacher telling you what to do for the assignment. And I thought that was such a cool idea. So we're going to be kind of sharing that idea with our teachers and see if they like that again, because it really helps like to not only read what you're supposed to do, but to hear your teacher tell you what to do, I think is really cool. And even if they explain it in class, that you could go back and listen to it again in Google Classroom would be pretty awesome. So we hope to share that tip with our teachers.
I think it would also really help with, like, since we can't be in person, like, it'd really help with that interactional experience, especially for 5th and 6th graders.
Mhm.
So, okay, how do you actually turn in an assignment? So as you saw in like 2 pages ago, kind of you have this box that says your work, and that's where you're able to turn in assignments that are needed to turn in. So essentially, in order to turn in an assignment, you often have to attach or create a Google Doc or file. So you basically have 2 options. Your first option is to add, which you can add Google Docs presentations that you've already worked on. And so here you can see Google Drive, link, and file. And so what Google Drive allows you to access files in your drive. Link allows you to link websites and other material your teacher might ask for. And then file allows you to take files off your computer and put it into Google Classroom so you can turn in. And then if you want to create something new for this assignment, like if my teacher posts an essay and I need to write a paper, I can press Google Doc, or if I need a presentation, Google Slides, and it will automatically upload or create a Google Doc into Google Classroom so you can have it all in one place. And this is a super convenient feature. And then once you've added or created a document or a file and you're ready to submit your assignment, you press the mark as done, which essentially turns in the assignment for your teacher to grade and give you points for. The last
Oh, did we lose Enzo for a second? Is he frozen? I think he'll be back in a minute. All right, so what he was gonna say, and I'll pantomime, is just be sure to check your due date. So Google does have a timestamp, so it will show up as turned in late.
Yeah. Usually for 5th and 6th graders, this isn't as big as a problem, but once you get in high school, if you turn something in late, it can result in you losing a lot of points. So I would say just make sure you're always turning in stuff on time. And yeah, so that's kind of Google Classroom for you in a pinch. And please ask any questions. And if any of you have anything to add, please.
Muted. We'll pause here for a minute. So Mr. Paz will get ready for his next topic. But if you have questions about Chromebooks or Classroom, please post them in the chat right now so we can help you out. And thank you to Kendra for your comment. It's really, really helpful as well. So anything you're thinking on these 2 topics?
One thing I will say about Google Classroom is that most of our teachers have been using this for the past 5 or 6 years. So this is really, it's not something we've kind of cobbled together at this last minute. Like this is something that we've been using that we're just moving forward with.
Oh, and Abby had a question about what is unsubmit do. Can somebody explain that for her?
I can take that if you want. Yeah, so unsubmit is once you turn in an assignment or a file, you won't be able to edit it anymore on Google Drive. So if you do need to edit an assignment, if you realize that there's something that you want to add to a paper or something like that, then you click the unsubmit button and then it'll allow you to make your changes. But then you always have to remember that after you unsubmit it, you have to turn it back in. Because if you turn it in, unsubmit it, and then you don't turn it in by the due date, it will be marked as late.
All right, so let's talk about ClassLink. And Mrs. Wusatter, do you want to give our introduction to ClassLink here?
I would love to. So in the chat, can you tell me if you've used ClassLink last year or if it is brand new to you? And then I'll show you just a super fast demo because it's going to be a very integral part. All right, so we got 1 no, a couple yeses, a few perfect, great. If you have used it, can you tell me something that you really liked about it? So go ahead and post in the chat just, or even better, if something didn't work, you can tell me that too. So in the chat, you can say something that you liked or something that maybe was frustrating. So then we can try to fix it. And then I'll show our newbies exactly what it looks like. Just share my screen. There we go.
And this is for parents watching as well. Sorry, Mrs. Lucetter. For parents watching as well, if you haven't seen this, maybe your student might be really experienced with this, but to have an understanding of where everything is for our students, it's good for parents to know as well.
Thank you for that. Yeah, so this is pretty much all the things the students are going to need for learning both on campus or at home. So it's a pretty important tool to just have access to all of the digital resources. Our goal was to really find a way to have a one-stop place for all the students to go, and ClassLink solves that problem for us. So right now, if you log in, if you're a current student, you might see some apps missing because we're just in the process of rolling over all of our data and getting you your new stuff for next year. So our secretaries at the school sites are making all the class rosters and assigning teachers, and all of that work's happening right now. So over in a week or so, when all of that's done, because that's going to take some time, then we actually populate all the apps you need by teacher and what class you're in. So our fourth and fifth graders, you're going to have this red McGraw-Hill app, and I saw a comment from somebody about it's kind of taking time to load. So that's going to be there for math. If you're in sixth grade, you're going to have a My HRW app. Let me see if I can find it. This one here. This one's for sixth graders, and this is going to be your math and your ELA. So both of them are going to be in here. And I was chatting with our student tech team, and they thought it'd be a really good idea to make a video on actually how to use the textbooks. So not only do you know that they're here, but what are some tips in there for using them? Because you can do things like having the book read to you, or learning how to do a keyboard shortcut to find things on a page. So we want to make sure we do some specific lessons just on how to use the textbooks. And then your teachers may also decide other things they want you to use. So I know at LCE, if anybody had Mrs. Franz or Mrs. Fueling, they are big fans of Quizlet. This is a super cool app to build flashcards and study. So they might assign Quizlet. You should check that out now if you haven't used it before. It's really good for studying and kind of playing games with things you have to learn. So that's ClassLink. Everything's in here. And as somebody mentioned in the chat, you can change your background. You can change your profile picture. But I also like that you can make folders, so you can kind of organize everything. So you'll get this folder with all your Google apps in here. And then you can also create your own folders if you wanted to. So that is ClassLink. And I see a question. Any useless apps or their unemployment. So we only really assign apps that students need and based on their teacher. So there might be only 5 to 6 in there per student. So just know that it stays pretty empty. There is the library that you can click on, and we have a limited amount of things for students to add. Some fun ones like Google Moon. If you haven't seen that, it's pretty cool. It's like Google Earth, but the moon, and Google Mars. So there's just a few things in here that students can add. I know a lot of teachers are starting to use Padlet, so that might be something that gets added this year, but we try to keep it really clean so it doesn't get too messy and distracting. So that's how ClassLink works.
And Mrs. Lucetter, you have, because as the CTO, you've got a lot more apps than the average student will, right?
Yes.
Average student might have 10 or 11, not this many.
Even maybe fewer than that. It's pretty sparse, yeah. And I think to make a folder, you just right click. So thank you for that question. You just right click and then do new folder, and you can start moving everything in there. It's pretty easy. I think it's gonna get a little bit of a redesign before school starts. I have to push the upgrade button, but it should be very similar, just a little bit cleaner in terms of the design. I think they're gonna turn from these rounded edged squares to circles, maybe the upgrade that's coming. But to access it, thank you for that question. You just go to ClassLink. Let's see, is it classlink.lcusd.net, I believe is the URL. I'll post that for you. And also on all of our websites. So let me share this tip for you as well. So I'll go to LCE Lions. I started to type that and fell short, sorry. LCELions.net, there we go. And we have this blue cloud. So this is in the corner of all of our school websites, and that will take you directly to ClassLink. If you're a brand new student, you might not have your account ready yet, but we're going to work on that. We're just waiting for one thing to upgrade on our servers, and then we're going to make all the new student accounts. So you'll have this before school starts so you can play with it, and I'll send you information on that as soon as possible. And that is ClassLink. Again, post questions in the chat if you have them after we finish our topics.
All right, we have one other tool that we use. It's called GoGuardian, and because we're with so many screens in one classroom, GoGuardian gives us a number of security features for all of our students to keep everybody safe, to keep everybody on task. Because one thing you'll probably hear from your teachers a lot is that the technology is a learning tool. It's not necessarily an entertainment device, especially when we're in classrooms. So when we have this GoGuardian tool that when you're in the classroom, the teacher from their screen can open up a window and they can see what's on all student screens. They can see if you're on task. They can leave little comments. Hey, this looks like a really good website to visit. Nice job. If you're off task, they can be very nice and close that tab for you. And you're like, oh, what happened? All of a sudden, I'm closed. This is just one way that the teachers are to kind of help keep everything managed. So our teachers might be using that during our online instruction during this school year. So you always know there's a little window that pops up in the top right corner that says your teacher is monitoring you right now. So we don't want there to be any surprises, any secrets. We want you to know that if somebody's watching, we can be on our best behavior. At the same time, with this GoGuardian tool for our 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, we also provide school-level filtering. And our filters at school are pretty strict. Nothing inappropriate, violence, things like that, obscenities. And we block certain websites that aren't appropriate. But we also, with this GoGuardian tool, will offer this school-level filtering at your house. So any parents who are listening in, this is one extra layer that we're supporting you because there's a lot more technology in our homes now. But this is one way that we can help keep those filters going. Ms. Lusader, do you have anything to add to?
Yeah, we just had a parent question. So GoGuardian is when we're monitoring on campus. So this is when the devices are actually on our network. That's when the teachers can see the student screen. So that's for, it's typically used in like 4th through 12th grade. And it's just during class, and it kind of just helps set those boundaries about, when you're in class, you're supposed to be working and not distracted. And so the teachers have a view of that. And again, it's just a gentle reminder. We're all about education versus kind of like oversight and policing. We just think, when you're in school, you need those guardrails to really help you. So that's what that's for. And it also is nice because the teachers can send messages to the students directly. So again, if they're off task, they wouldn't say, hey, Alana, why are you on yahoo.com? You're supposed to be doing your math. And it would just be a quick note like, hey, I noticed you're not where you're supposed to be. Get back on task. So again, it can be pretty gentle guidance on that. And then at home, what we're doing for our students in TK, we had K through 6 over last part of school year, but it'll go down to TK. We'll have filtering. So again, there'll be some help there for filtering at home with our families.
And this is only for the school devices or for the student devices. We don't have a window into your internet traffic at your house. So just so you know that we can't, and we're not watching your home internet traffic.
Yeah. And it's tied to the student account actually. So it's nothing, if you logged in on a Chromebook that your son or daughter uses, we're not going to see your banking information or shopping habits, like none of that. It's all tied to the student's school account. So that's the only connection.
Students, have you experienced this from the student end of it in classrooms before? Any insight about this? Does it work when the teachers are able to see your screens?
It's not going to be a fan favorite, but I like that they're trying.
I would say more. I remember it definitely from 5th to 8th grade. It kind of like after 8th grade, the teachers tend to trust you a little more and kind of make you responsible. But I definitely 5th through 8th grade, all the teachers utilize it, and I feel like it's a really like gentle way to just subtle way almost to just keep kids on track. And as long as you're doing what you should be doing, there's really no reason to worry about it as a student.
Yeah, I like that it was more subtle. Teachers would just start closing tabs. Like my friends would be like, "Oh, my tabs are closing," and at least they're not, saying it in front of the class. So I think it's a better tool.
Looking at Kendra's question, if we bought our own Chromebooks for our kids and then do remote school. So yeah, GoGuardian doesn't really work at home for the teachers to kind of have control, because if we don't have 100% of the students on Chromebooks, and it's one more screen for the teachers to kind of manage. It works really well for in-person teaching when the teachers are there. I mean, it can work, but I think it adds a complication. But what we're interested in is just making sure parents have the option for filtering at home. And so that's what's there for our youngest learners. Because again, we want those guardrails up on the internet a little bit. So GoGuardian is something you'll see when we get back on campus.
Now, when, for some of us who are new to campus, new to your elementary schools here, it's always, there's the excitement of going to a new school, making new friends, learning about new teachers. This beginning of school year is going to feel a little bit different for a while. With that said, though, there's so many opportunities, and we really want you to get to know as many students as possible, get to know your teachers, allow people to get to know you, and to really feel like you have some school spirit, that you're part of this new school site that you're going to be a part of. So I'm going to ask our student panel here, when it comes to maybe some strategies that students can do, whether they're a brand new student or they've been in LC Alliance since kindergarten or whatever. What are some ways that our students can feel more comfortable interacting with their friends, speaking out, sharing their ideas? Any tips or ideas that you would have for our students?
I think something that I didn't learn until later is that you guys are all learning the material at the same time. I mean, if you're taking whatever class, science, math, English, it's not like if you ask a question, I'm sure like 5 other people have the same question. They're just too scared to ask it. So sometimes take the, sacrifice yourself and ask the question, because I'm sure everyone else is going to learn from it. And it's not like something to feel ashamed about to ask a question, because it's new material. That's why they're teaching it. It's supposed to be new for everyone. So just be forward and ask questions, because that's how you can learn and improve for your tests and whatever you're doing.
That's a great tip. Thanks, Alana.
I would say try to like really interact with the material. Go the extra step and maybe research it a little more than your teacher wants you to, because I always felt like kind of what Alana was saying, asking questions to your teacher, getting to know your teacher, and just kind of being fully involved in the material and fully focused will send you a long ways compared to maybe not being so focused or dozing off. Just trying to constantly interact with the material, interact with others, bounce ideas off each other. That kind of thing could really make your class life a lot better.
Yeah, I do want to mention again, don't be afraid to ask questions. Also, don't be afraid to email a teacher. Even something like that could seem intimidating, or posting like a class comment or something like that. The teachers are there for you. They're not there to judge you in any way.
Yeah, I guess kind of to echo what Devin said, definitely reach out to teachers if you have any questions. They're always there for that. And also work with your fellow students to ask them any questions that you might have. Often someone has an idea of what's going on in the class.
We haven't established too much just yet. I'm sure all the teachers have great ideas that are rattling around in their heads. Our goals right now are just kind of to get the school year started, but there are probably going to be so many opportunities for social interaction and school spirit days, and dress up in your pajama day or something like that. That we're really going to be focusing on making this as real as possible. So as these things show up, if you get the PTA or the room mom or somebody's talking about activities that are going to be happening either online or socially distant somehow, whatever, please make sure you take every opportunity, because that's how this is going to feel real.
Yeah, and I just, on that note, I would love to just do kind of an all call. Like, if you have ideas of how to make this great for you or your kids, send us a note. If you have ideas, post in the chat. I was thinking just immediately, like getting as many school spirit projects kind of going soon, like getting those t-shirts ordered, and anything that you can have to still feel like you're part of the school, I think is gonna be super important. So if you have other ideas, just reflecting on your experiences last part of the school year, or things that maybe you participated in a summer class this year and you thought it was really good and you learned something, let us know in the chat if you have ideas, or I'll post my email and you can send me an email anytime. It's super easy to remember, just jl@lcusd.net. If you have ideas like anytime during the school year or anytime in the next couple of weeks of how we can do things better, send me a note, because we take your feedback pretty seriously. And then also just do the same thing with your teachers. If you have an idea, I would say, talk to your principal, talk to your teacher, share them, because that's how we get better and we learn and we grow.
Something I was going to add is the classes that I personally had the most fun with during quarantine, like at the end of that last year, was when everyone had their cameras on. It just made the environment a lot more comfortable for me, because I know if you're the first person, or if you're showing up late and everyone has their cameras off, sometimes you're like, okay, I shouldn't be the one to turn my camera on. But if you're early, turn your camera on, because like I like seeing other people's faces, and I think it makes it a lot better for everyone else. So that's something to consider.
A question here in the chat. John Kendra asks how teachers will be doing synchronous learning. Will they be using Zoom or Google Hangouts or Classroom? At 4, 5, and 6, there will be synchronous learning on either Zoom or the new Google Meet that Mrs. Lusader and our tech team are going to be kind of testing out in the next few days. So there will be kind of video calls like this. Different teachers run things different in some different ways. Most are just going to be using the same platform, though. When it's appropriate, you might see some screencasts, a pre-recorded lesson, and you have some work to do. When it's appropriate for things like this, where we're chatting and we're discussing, we're bouncing great ideas off of each other, there will be that as well. We use Zoom. We'll be using Google Meet. We definitely use Classroom. Google Hangouts, Mrs. Lusader, I don't believe that, as the chat feature of that is turned on for students at this time.
Correct. Yeah, it's just the video component, I think, to interact with their teachers, but I don't know if they can initiate their own video. But it might be. Madeline's saying try it out, so we'll check.
Can I add something real quick? I was just going to say, pretty much all the teachers use Classroom, and that's kind of the standard, like, for us turning in assignments and everything. So you definitely will see teachers, all the teachers using Classroom, but I would say Zoom and Meet are more of a personal preference. And I think, yeah, majority of them I felt used Meet, but some of my teachers also use Zoom. So it's just really up to the teacher.
So because we're doing so much on tech at the moment, you might get to a point where you've got a glitch or you've got a question, and we have a resource for you. It is the LCUSD help guide, our help desk, and it is found at help.lcusd.net. And this is kind of the one-stop shop before You contact anybody if you can't get a hold of anyone. This is really where you can get started, and we might have the answer for you because we have a pretty broad knowledge base here for you. But you can also turn in what we call a tech ticket and ask a question. Hey, my Chromebook doesn't work. Such and such happened. I tripped over the Chromebook cord and it broke. What do I do? Things like this. So on this, down here, we've got virtual instruction, CASP, which is our state testing system, which we're not using currently. Questions about Google's G Suite, questions about your accounts, all of the different systems that we use, and also hardware, like how do I hook up a printer, things like that. So always come here first. You can ask a question. I'm going to type in class link, and when I do that, all of my help guides about ClassLink are here, and we have a lot. So hopefully there's something that will answer your question. If you've kind of searched everything, we don't have something pre-made for you. Up here in the top is something called Submit a Request. And you type in your email address, the subject, broken printer, Chromebook won't turn on, question about ClassLink, and the description of your problem, be as specific as possible. What school site you belong to, room, not necessarily option or not necessarily necessary right now. And you can take screenshots. Those will always help our technicians. And you can submit that, and we'll get back to you pretty quickly with hopefully some help with the solution.
Yeah, and I just want to invite you to put in a ticket anytime. I mean, I know a lot of families will email me directly when they have tech support, and I get about 200 email a day, so it's a little bit crazy right now. But if you put in a ticket, it goes to 10 people, and you could get help even faster. So I really encourage you to put in a tech ticket. Students, if you get stuck on an assignment and it's a technical glitch with the assignment, definitely put in a ticket because we can help you. And we have a lot of people who have eyes on that. And, of course you can ask your teacher, but just know that there's one more resource for you. And I posted that in the chat for you, help.lcusd.net. You can, of course, also email me. I was helping a 5th grader last year with Storyboard that, so, and got to learn how to use it along with helping her. So feel free, you can reach out anytime and we can support you. And thank you, Kendra, for your question. Yeah, we will definitely still help with the personally owned Chromebook. So the program in our district is that kids buy their own and then we support them. So totally fine, because it's for our financial stability. We offer equity devices for those who can't afford one or choose not to participate. And as long as we keep that percentage fairly low, then we can always support those in need. And then everybody else brings their own. So that's how our format kind of works. So we averaged about 12 to 15% a year of families who check out Chromebooks, and the rest bring their own. So definitely can still help you if you buy your own. All right. Anything else on our list? Was that about it? We're getting close to the end. We want to make sure we have time for questions. Oh, Alana had an idea about sharing our keyboard shortcut link. Yes, we have some homework for you. So anybody out there listening, students, parents, both of you, this is important tech tips. We think everybody needs to know about keyboard shortcuts. And we encourage you to learn 1 or 2 a week, things that make sense for your work, practice them. A lot of them you can learn by just kind of clicking on File or Edit up above any program you're in, and you can kind of see the keyboard shortcuts, but saving those seconds of clicking around is really good. So Mr. Paz just posted that link for you, so take a look at that. Awesome, thank you. All right, anything else on our agenda? Was that our last item? Okay, maybe we can do just maybe one kind of around the room, and then we'll take questions. What would you say is something to kind of help a student be successful in remote learning, like a way to kind of start the year strong? What would be your advice?
Well, I can start with just by saying a really great way of just staying focused is to have, if you can't have either separate computers or separate places that you can take your computer where one is for work and schoolwork, and one is for anything else you want to do, to relax, to not do schoolwork, to just make sure that whenever you're in the schoolwork place, you're always staying focused.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I think something that helped me a lot was just kind of, I guess it's different for everyone, but for me, it helped to kind of run it like I was at school. So paying attention to the bell schedule and keeping on top of as if I were on a school schedule, and also fully engaging in classes the way I would have if it were in person. Because I feel like once you kind of get off that schedule, it's a lot harder to feel engaged.
Great,
Going
thank
along
you.
with those, yeah, I agree. And going along with both of those, I think like even just getting dressed in the morning, like you're gonna go to school, you know, putting on jeans or whatever you wear. Like, I know they only see your top half, but getting fully dressed and getting ready in the morning definitely is a lot different than when you sleep until 11 and you're like doing all your assignments to turn them in by 3:30 or whatever. So just in the morning, try and give yourself some sort of routine. I think really helped me.
That's great.
I think what really helped me honestly was just kind of interacting with my teachers outside of the assigned time. Like I emailed a lot of my teachers right after each lecture or lesson they planned with questions I might have had, or any ideas I had for that assignment, and it just really kind of gave me like another avenue outside of the Zoom, where I know sometimes can be intimidating, but like it was really nice being able to chat with them somewhere else where it felt a little more private, but it really felt engaged and that they were trying to help me. So that's my advice.
That's excellent. Thank you. Really good. Really good. All right. Well, fourth, fifth, and sixth graders and families of fourth, fifth, and sixth graders, we loved having you with us this last hour. We will stick around for 8 more minutes or as long as you need us. If you have questions, please post them in the Q&A. If you wanted to ask a question live, I'm happy to stop the recording and then we can let you use your voice, and you can ask a question and not feel shy. If you wanted to talk through any of the questions that we answered and maybe you didn't quite get enough that you needed, please ask them again. We're happy to help you. Otherwise, this recording will be posted in about an hour on our YouTube channel. So I'll post that for you, youtube.com/LCUSD media. And any parents listening, we have a couple sessions already up there for you, but we want to invite you back for our parent sessions that are starting next week. And students, if you have ideas or things that you need help with, send us a note, because we can do some more training specifically on things that you want to learn more about. So again, you can email us or post in the chat if there's a topic you want to learn more about. Tell us, or if you want to help be a part of something like this, send me an email too. We would love to have some junior tech team members to support with distance learning. If you're a techie and maybe there's a tech job we can find for you at your elementary school and you can help your teachers. So think about that and let us know. So thank you all for joining. We have a question for Mia about parental guides and how to block and monitor activities while connected to the home network. Yeah, we do have a guide for that. I will find it and post it in the chat for you. We have some options on kind of how to set up home filters. The Google Home Wi-Fi is really good for that. Also, Disney Circle is another one. I mean, again, anything will have ways around it. A lot of kids can get creative if they know they're getting blocked, but there are some things you can set up. So I'll post our link. I'll post a link to our guide for that in the chat to help you.
There's also extensions that I've used before with Google Chrome. There's one called like self-control, and it blocks a bunch of websites. So I would just block YouTube, Netflix, Amazon, whatever I was going to use. And you can set like a time duration for it. So for your kids, or if you are a student and you just know that you might go on those websites, block that for yourself for however long you're going to be doing work. That helps.
That's such a good idea. I mean, I think that goes with our philosophy that we really want students to kind of self-govern and regulate. And like, of course, when you're little, it's super hard, but that's a really good thing to strive for, to kind of build your own self-awareness for that. So thank you for that tip. That's awesome.
It kind of reminded me, like, I'm not sure if 5th and 6th graders would have phones yet, but if you do, like having it in another room or having it somewhere quiet is like a really good way to just sit down and concentrate.
Oh, let's see. There's a question about keyboard shortcuts in ClassLink. I actually don't know about any keyboard shortcuts for ClassLink. I will Google that. If you email me that question, I will find an answer, since you posted anonymously, which is totally fine. But email me that question, and I will do some research and see if there are keyboard shortcuts for ClassLink. That's a great challenge.
Anyway, now that we have some time, do you mind if I go plug LCHS Go? Go mention that.
Yes, please.
All right. I'm gonna go share this screen here.
And again, this is 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, so it's not quite applicable to them yet, unless you develop something for them for the start of school.
I don't think it should be that hard to develop something, but yeah. This is LCHS Go. It's a web extension, or it's a web app that we, as the LCHS I team, have made, where basically it says the current period, how much time is left in that period, as well as the current time. We also have a Chrome extension, which you can see up here. It shows exactly how many minutes are left. Right now, this is 7 hours, but until the end of the day. Normally, it's a little bit more useful with that when we have actual periods. And you can click on that and get this full thing here, as well as being able to change what grade you're in. And yeah, to get there, you can go to the link go.lciteam.club. To get the Chrome extension here, you can go to tinyurl.com/go extension. I can go put those in the chat. And yeah, that's mostly it.
Yeah, it's super helpful to kind of just know what's going on in each of your classes. So or just coming on campus, I found it really great to be able to have the bell schedule handy at all times. So thank you for that. And any other questions you're welcome to ask, or thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciated you all being here.